Okay, so this is part two of our recording with Obi, who's done a brilliant job of sharing with us some of his lessons learned and tips to success for UX strategy and particularly with a focus on not just the techniques of UX, but also the importance of project management and various techniques. You mentioned one word which really stood out to me, Obi, and that was trust. Trust, because you've identified a number of strategies which were around um, communicating with the stakeholders and developing kind of negotiation skills. But can you elaborate a little bit more on what you mean by trust? Because I think from my experience, that can break a project and make it
Definitely.
fail.
Definitely. Thanks, Anthony, for that, the opportunity to elaborate on that. When we talk about trust, you think about it from what you just said, and I say that to my students a lot, that hello, kiss bye-bye to walking alone, to being the hermit in the cave. Because if you want to make a living in this area, you will work in teams. Now, we work with our minds a lot as designers. There's a lot that people do not see. Sometimes I remember people asking me, so you say you're an architect, what do you actually do? Is it not this stuff you guys just draw with your hands? And I took that back to my professor and said, explain to me why I need to be here. He said, we're teaching you how to synthesize information. That's your main job, to synthesize information and deliver solutions. And to do that, you need to know a whole lot. You must know a lot. And you keep knowing. And you keep trashing your assumptions and coming up with new ones. Now, for someone who is doing this, you should understand that there is some kind of, let me call it, positive vulnerability that we go through as designers. Because what you thought of yesterday, by the time you wake up this morning, even you will trash it and come up with new assumptions. Now, as you're going through this in your mind, you're a member of a team. There may be a team leader and whatever. They're also going through this and coming up with it. Where trust issues arise, there'll be a number of things. You need people who are brainstorming with you to number one, become are actually ideas that you are going through the same mental processes they are going through and you're coming up with stuff. No matter how funny it is, they need to trust that you are going through that design thinking process and every morning you're coming up with something. That's one part of it. The second part of it is they need to be sure that your basis for reasoning, it's somewhere, we're in a team. So if you're the visual designer, you're the researcher, you're this, you're that, we need to be sure that we have a common ground, that our thinking is kind of based on these common design principles that we accept, that you're not somebody that believes that you are the one that has the ideas and so on. And
Yeah.
so everybody needs to just shut their mouth and listen to you. Then the other part of it, and I'm breaking this trust down into various aspects of it. The other part of it is the basis for your new assumption, whatever information, whatever the basis of your insight that you have now that you're bringing to the table needs to be authentic. Okay, I need to believe that it's authentic. That's another part of it. Then, and this is talking about because we are using our intellect a lot. And if we are knowledge driven people, you need to meet me at that point of facts and figures, even if we're also talking about people's emotions and so on. I need to see that the process you're using, say, for instance, a researcher, you should be able to quickly show me your toolbox and your process so that I understand, this is coming out of something, basically when we talk about validity and reliability,
Yeah.
it can translate to trust in a team.
Yeah,
The other one
especially if it's because you do a lot of international projects with different cultures and different language, different expectations. So it really becomes critical then, doesn't it?
Very, very critical that because I can't task you to know my culture or to be me, and then there's that middle ground of authenticity needs to be presented to me or to the other person. They should get it as you are speaking. And I'm not talking about you being an Einstein or something like that. I'm just talking about you being able to deliver authenticity in your communication to people so that you earn their trust. The other side of trust has a lot to do with project management, in the sense that if you pull people into a process they don't know, they don't have a clear picture or even a hazy picture of it, chances are that they will simply be going along with you, but they'll be watching out for potholes. Okay, so you're not going to get undivided attention from them. When you are in this team and running a project, you need to not have like another way. They should be in there with you completely in their minds. So you need to have a proper project plan. They need to know the process you go through. It needs to be communicated. I ended up with communication. And I said, if you do not communicate to people what you're doing in a friendly manner and you don't keep communicating going on, you will lose their trust. They might be there, but they're just bodies. You lose the contribution that people will make to the delivery of their project or the product. So you must communicate and communicate and communicate. Like a broken record, you need to keep on communicating to people, carry them along. And lastly, you have to be careful the way you harvest ideas within your team. If it is a matter of people dropping things and you take them without acknowledgement, that's simply you're losing that person immediately. People like to be acknowledged, even in a team. So as ideas are pouring in, it is important to acknowledge the sources of those ideas and not to trash any idea or drop it. One of my teachers said, when these ideas come in, even if you know that this particular idea does not fit in now, don't say, so we'll trash it, so we'll leave it. So we are going to put it towards this particular stage or that particular process. So we pack it here, we'll use it for so and so. So all of those things, it's highly nuanced, but so many things translate into distrust from very
No, absolutely.
minute areas.
I'm so glad to hear you, making that a priority because, one of the things for our students, what we're trying to do is to get them to work with each other as study partners or in study groups. At the moment, a lot of the assessments in the university are individual submission, but we're trying to work more, towards group work.
Interesting that you said that, because my very first day in the university, the very first class that I taught, my deep end experience was a class of, I think, 250 students.
Wow.
They were scared. I was scared. Everybody was just shivering. And I had to ask myself, if I'm going to sit down and talk with each one of these boys and girls, I will be in the hospital in a week. So
Yeah.
how would I do this? And I said, okay, but hold on. The industry we are preparing them for, they work in teams, project teams. So why are we busy doing something else? We should be, not all the subjects, all the things they need to learn will not be taught directly, like now I'm teaching you teamwork. Some of it needs to be experiential. You
Yeah.
put them in that place and then they learn it. So from that time, I've been running group work. I still have a space for individual work to test the individual that they are doing, they're learning. But the group work, my group work and I can share this with you, it's pure project management. They develop their project charter, they write a project report in addition to the task I gave them. So if I say, go and study this particular device or this building, after that, you provide a project report of how you did it, how you formed your group, who did what, the collaboration technologies you used, the problems you faced as a group, and how you resolved them. And the result is showing in industry because now our students are doing very well. I have a student who graduated 2 years back, his first job, senior management.
Wow, wow, that's exciting. That's exciting. The one last point, I put in the text chat, if any of our shy students don't want to put their microphone on, go ahead and put a question or a comment into the text chat. But while we're waiting to see if there are any other questions or comments, Obi, one last thing for me that I'd like to sorry. We do have one question here before I jump in. Rad is saying, can you show us a portfolio? So like
Sure.
if you have a link that we could put in the text chat. What I really liked about how you did your presentation was you didn't just give us a lecture on theory. You gave us various case studies, experiences of projects, and the lesson that you learned from each one. So while you're getting that portfolio together, one issue that I wanted to kind of finish off with today was on the project where you said that you had a short time frame and that you needed to speak with the client, and in that situation you really needed to determine what the project was, and that made me think of a cartoon on usability that I saw where they said we don't really care what the question is. Here's the answer. Here's the solution. So I really take home what you're saying, with respect to making sure that you define the user's needs. You get that profile of the stakeholders. And it's not just once, not at just the beginning, but like you said, at different stages. Safira is saying, I agree, communication is so important. The other day, a project I was part of, which my boyfriend and best friend founded as equal partners, fell through. Oh no, sorry, Safira. Wow. Because his friend had different ideas and different vision for the project, and he took all the accounts for the project hostage without communicating. So that can break it down right there. They managed to get him to take down the code that wasn't his yesterday, and for him to admit him taking the accounts and the code to change the project to his vision. Never give away your source code. Oh, so this is Safira's lesson learned. Never give away the source code and make contracts. So yeah, that's really important that you make sure. I think you made this point clear, Obi. That from the beginning, get that common language, get that common agreement. Where you're starting from. It may change, like you mentioned. The project could have a moving goalpost. I've been in projects like that before, where you thought that you were going to point X and we end up going in point Y. But yeah, I think that Safira has shared a really
Yeah,
good lesson with us there.
so fair. I mean, I feel I'm really sorry for the experience you guys had, but again, it's part of the experience. Put it in the box of experiences.
Yeah.
If you have never had a bad experience, you wouldn't really know what a good one tastes like. Okay, so this is the life of we people in the UX. You will definitely come to the point where something does not go the way you think it should because someone else thinks it must go this way. And you say never release your code and make contracts. The word of caution I want to place there is remember that we're not talking about you being adversarial, like
Mm.
wall of offense being put in there. It's about norming in that relationship. You can get a very hard-headed person to agree to work with you. And let me tell you, when you get those kind of people, they'll be so loyal to you. So it's about us also picking people. And if somebody is really a hardcore coder that can deliver on anything, well, it's a good resource to have in your team. But then you walk back, look at your project management and determine what should we sell to this guy? What kind of relationship do we need to bring him into? And of course, what kind of legal relationship do we need to bring him into? And what kind of prospects should he have or value proposition should he have inside this relationship that will make that person not do these sorts of things. If anything, you should take this experience you've had as a case study and do a post-mortem on it, analyze it, and go back to figure out, what exactly could I have done to keep this person and not have any miscommunications or misunderstanding. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like how you frame that, Obi, because that's part of life is that you're going to have failures, you're going to encounter barriers, and we want to try to look at these as learning opportunities that we can make like prevention strategy. Okay, so okay, this happened in this project, what can I put in place to prevent that from happening the
Exactly.
next time? And then you've got good project management, you've
Yeah.
got good leadership, because you're
Exactly.
never going to
Exactly.
be in a situation where you don't make any mistakes or have any problems.
It wouldn't be the
Well,
world. Yeah.
this has been wonderful. This has been really great, and so I think Sophia's taking the message home. That she's going to take this on board for future learning. If there are any other questions or comments, maybe later in the day, or people have anything, please send me the message or in the email or in the text chat. I'm happy to pass these on to Obi. This has been really fantastic opportunity with you. I hope this is a way to open the door for future collaboration,
Definitely.
and opportunities to kind of share and give and take with each other. That would be really wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. And guys, thank you so much for having me. Again, apologies for the time shifting. And I'm just so happy that I made it after all and that I caught you guys.